All right. Thank you all for being on, or I should say, I'm so proud of you all for being on here on this Tuesday night, our Tuesday night training. It has been a while since we have had like a what do we call it? Plexus celebrity on. And we've got the one and only Tim Thomas on with us. Tim, let's see. When did you actually join Plexus? I don't think I got the year that you actually joined.
I joined in 2013.
Okay, so 2013. And then him and his wife, who has heard of Rock the Pink Live? Michelle and Tim Thomas? Yeah. So we are talking to the very, very own Tim Thomas. If you don't know what Rock the Pink Live is, they do it every Monday night,
Yes.
on Facebook, on Michelle's Facebook page. And then you guys have like a separate page, it sounds like, that you actually save them. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. We collect them there, so they're easy to find.
Great. So if any of you want to go look up some really great interviews, I'm sure just lots and loads of information that you could ever imagine on that page, go for it because they're just so great. Tim is an emerald, his wife is a diamond, and they live in Tennessee. And I'm so excited to have him on tonight to share with us his journey and whatever tips and business advice he has for us. So thanks so much, Tim.
Well, I am just really glad I was invited to be on. And it's funny getting on a call like this and talking about Rock the Pink Live. So many people do know us from that, Autumn, and it's the only. What we set out to do with that was literally just try to train our team, and it kind of started like this, where we were just wanting to figure out a way to get the message out. But back then there was no Zoom. And, there was, I think, FaceTime, you could only FaceTime one person, there were very limited options. And so we found Google Plus that you could broadcast it. And so we just said, well, we'll just make it available to anyone who wants to watch. And so we'd send out a link. And I will tell you that we were so nervous when we first started doing it. The first night that we did it, there's a point to me saying this, but the first night that we ever did it, we sat there and Michelle was live on camera for like 2 minutes and had no idea. She was just sitting there, and it was she just like staring at the screen and doing all this stuff. And fortunately, there were maybe like 10 or 15 people even watching it, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was funny. The first time that I went live by myself, we came back from an event or something, and Michelle was just exhausted, and I felt bad for her, so I just said, I'll just do it myself. And so I went on and did it. I thought I would be fine, and oh my gosh, I was shaking out of my boots. I mean, I was just – I don't remember everything I said, but I was like rambling, and I just stopped at like one point. I'm like, well, I'm done, and I was just done. So it was interesting starting off with that. And it's cool that it got built into what it did because it was sort of by accident, sort of intentionally, but sort of by accident. We reached out to different jewels at one point, and we thought, you know what, let's have some jewels on to share about things. Because before that, we were just sharing testimonies. We're like, you know what, let's raise people's view of what's happening. Let's get people understanding about how great this business is. So reached out to Jules, and then we reached out to Tarl, and that was scary. We had Tarl on, and he said yes, and we were just blown away. And the whole time we were just kind of moving up little bit by little bit, trying new things, doing new things all the way. And I think that put us into a place. It set a precedent for us pretty early on that we were going to try new things. We were going to do new things. We weren't going to be afraid to stick our necks out there and take a little bit of a risk of somebody saying no, like Tarl or Jewel not wanting to be on. We weren't going to be afraid to go live in front of people because it was the only way we were going to reach people. And we had no idea, because no one was doing lives back then. We had no idea how that would go and what it would look like. We just did it. And that put us in a place of like, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to figure things out, and we're just going to keep on trying new things. And I tell you that because you have to get comfortable to be successful with, I think, any business. It doesn't matter if it's network marketing or any other kind of business. You have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes. And the cool thing is that you do get comfortable with it at some point. Now, you do have to come out of that comfort zone again and again, but you get used to the idea that that's what it is. And it starts to build momentum. You just start to do things that way. And so for us, it's always been about trying to push things forward. But to tell you how I actually started in Plexus real quick was Michelle tried the products, and she got me started on them. She just said, would you take the products? Because she wanted me to basically support her. I refused. This is a little key for y'all. You probably know this already, but I refused at first because it was pink, and I was a guy, and I wasn't going to drink a pink drink, which was stupid. It was stupid, okay? But, you know, it was one of those weird little hang-ups. But once I tried it, I loved it, and I kept going, and started to lose weight. I started to feel a whole lot better. After I started taking ProBio 5, I was like, I got better at my job because I could think more clearly. I was remembering words that I had been having trouble with. Everything seemed to be getting better. And so I really became a believer in the products. And for me, it was about truly, like, if I was going to represent a company, I had to believe in the products. And I believed in the products. That was the truth. I just believed in the products. And it helped that I kept on, looking around to see other people's testimonies. That really helped, because when you hear other people's testimonies, it keeps you going. It keeps you fueled up, and that makes it exciting. And so it wasn't just my testimony I was looking at. It was like I was looking at everybody's testimony. And that kept me really, really, really excited. And I've, to this day, remained diehard about that. To this day, yes, I love the business. I love the fact that, we've made great money. But I'm diehard that it's about the products, because any great company is built on a great product. If you want to be a legacy company, and that's what I want. I want to be a legacy company, and I know that that's what Tal and Alec want to have. So I'm in with them on that. I want to be a part of that kind of a thing, and I want something that I can hand off to my kids. I want something that I hand down to my grandkids. I want them to be able to look back and say, look at what my mom and dad did and how they did it. And they spent time with us. Hey, my mom and dad were with us, and they did these great things, So that's what it's about for me. It's about doing something for my family. My family comes first. Building something for my family, and doing it with something that I believe in. In Plexus, I've been a diehard believer in since the get-go. That doesn't mean that there haven't been rough patches, okay? Yes, there have been rough patches. Sometimes it seems like there have been more downhills than there have been up, but the great thing is the uphills have taken us so high that it's okay that we have some downhills. We've experienced something amazing. I will tell you, and I don't typically share this, but just to kind of give you some I need to keep going. Like, we've been in this for about 6 years, and made roughly around $1.5 million. Now, we're kind of on the lower end, kind of maybe of the diamonds, right? We're maybe on the lower end. There's some of them that are making way more than that, but I'm happy that we've made, $1.5 million in 6 years. And I couldn't have imagined that before. That was something that just blew my mind to even think about. And so I tell you, I don't typically, that's the first time I've ever told anybody that, just so you know. That's the first time I've ever said that. But anyway, I get excited when I think about the products that work and the compensation plan that pays and keeps paying and keeps paying. And so you can afford, you can afford to keep pushing. I told myself when I started in this, if it takes us 5 years for her to get to diamond, it'll be worth it. If it takes me 10, it'll be worth it. Okay? Because the one, you're impacting people along the way. Two, it's not like you go from 0 to diamond and all in the middle you're not making any money. You're making money all along that path, right? So it's not like it's if you're making 20, 30, 40. I mean, the numbers are all over the place, but if you're making money during that time, it's fantastic. So if I make it to diamond in 10 years or whatever it is, I want it to be a lot less than that. I'll tell you that. And right now, with the way things are going, I think we're building momentum again, maybe like we've never seen. And so I'm excited. But even if it took me 10 years, it's totally worth it. So that's where I start from. I guess that's my basic baseline. That's where I stay. It keeps me positive. It keeps me looking at the right things. I don't get too down. I just don't let myself go there, because I know that there's so much more opportunity and there's so much more good than there is bad. So I'm able to keep pressing forward. And there's a good reason for that. It's proven itself to be right. Because I can tell you that 1 year in to Plexus, there was a moment where Michelle felt like we were going to need to, I was going to need, right after I quit my job to go full time, everything kind of went crazy. And she thought I was going to have to go back to work. We were going to have to start all over. This wasn't going to work out. And I told her at that point, I said, we have already chosen success. Because I came in with this mentality that I just told you about. I came in with those kind of beliefs. And I said, we've already chosen success. And we could have been like a lot of other people who give up. But we didn't, because we've kept that baseline mentality and we've kept going. And so I share that because it's good that we're all on here tonight. Everybody's really excited right now. There's a lot of great things going on right now. But sometimes it's not exciting. Sometimes it's not like this, and you got to keep going even during those times.
Yeah, if I can just interject and say, every business has its ups and downs, right? I mean, whether you're working for a boss, some days it truly sucks. And then other times, if you have your own business of any sort, I mean, you're going to have highs and lows. You don't ever get to escape that aspect.
Absolutely, I agree, and that's part of why it's easy for me to keep that mentality, is because I look at the big picture that the majority of businesses that start fail within the first year, and most of them within 3 years. So only a few actually even. I'm talking about business in general. Only a few survive, and you don't get the opportunity to start at $39.95. You're investing a whole lot more money than that, and you have you've got to be there constantly. You're not in control of your schedule. You kind of are, if you run your own business, but you're really not. If you're going to a brick and mortar, you got to be there. So, there's way more positives to the side of network marketing, and the way that Plexus has done it has made it really easy for anyone to get in. And let's say you don't take right off right away. It's okay, because you only started paying $39.95 to get into the business. It's not like you're out $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 and you got to make it back, or else you're going into bankruptcy. It's the type of thing that you can figure it out. You can study. You can learn from the other leadership. You can go out and learn how to talk to people if you don't know how to do that, and get good at it. And hey, a year in, all of a sudden you've got it. 2 years in, you figured it out, and now you're moving. It's worth it. But the thing that I want people to do is just go for it. Just go for it. Don't wait. That's the only thing I would throw out. As much patience as you have to have for yourself to get there, you have to be impatient with doing the stuff. Mm-hmm. You got to be patient with yourself, because maybe you haven't figured some things out yet, right? but you got to be impatient with doing the stuff. So when you know what to do, you have to do it. You can't wait and say, I'll figure it out. And I see a lot of people doing that too. I'll figure it out. And they're kind of giving themselves an excuse by saying that they're patient. You know, you got to be both. Be impatient with doing the stuff, but be patient with yourself if you don't know what you're doing yet.
Hey, Tim, Maya wants to ask you, where did your mentality come from? Like, did you always have that type of mentality in life?
Actually, that's a great question, because I think that what some people might feel like is, well, I don't have that mentality and it's hard to get it. And the truth is that I didn't have that mentality my whole life. In fact, I viewed myself for years as a quitter. I viewed myself that way because there were a couple of things that happened where there were big deals, and I chose to give myself an excuse and give myself an easy out. And I started to really regret it. But then I started to look at myself and say, you're a quitter. You just don't get things done. You probably never will be like those people who finish things. But what happened was I really came to realization of the fact that I needed to take a stand. I would say as a husband and as a father to not quit. I just came to the realization of that, and one day just decided that I wasn't going to quit. And I told my wife, I said, I won't quit. I won't quit on you. And it wasn't like, that sounds maybe like, I don't know what all your circumstances are. My circumstance was just simply basically that I had some great opportunities, but when things got really tough, I had quit. And I just decided I wasn't going to do that anymore. And it was funny because it was just a decision. It was a decision. Maybe I'd come to a place of having enough motivation to make that decision. I don't know if that maybe would, but ultimately it came down to deciding it. And then what happened was I just did what I said. And the more I didn't quit when I felt like quitting, the more I felt like I wasn't a quitter. And the more that I wanted to keep going, the more now that quitting is repulsive to me. Like at this point, I never want to feel ever again like I'm a quitter. So I won't. So it was just a change. And I tell you, you might feel like you're in a place like that. Trust me, I understand you. Trust me. I understand how it feels to feel like I do things and then I quit. I start and then I stop. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be any number of things that you struggle with that you might be coming to your head right now. Like, I've started this 1,000 times and I've stopped 1,000 times. I think it was Dave Letterman said, I'm going to throw this out there for fun. I don't know. Dave Letterman said, I think it was him, quitting smoking's easy. I've done it 1,000 times. Right? That's a lot of times how we are, but the opposite way. We start things and then we stop them. But just know this: you can change. Like, I didn't think I could, but I did. You can change, and you can be a person who keeps going. And the way that you do that is you make a decision and then you start doing that thing. And the more that you do the thing that you wanted to quit on, the more that you realize that you're no longer a quitter, and the better you get. And what happens is then the sky becomes a limit and you can go for big things. I guess that's that's the point, right? If you want to go for big things, you have to get into the place where that's your mentality. Okay, so I've talked a long time about that. Do you want me to talk about something else?
Yeah, feel free to move on. What do you have? What do you want to share?
Okay. All right. So I just had a couple of things wanted to talk about, and You can just tell me. I'm just kind of throwing out some tips and things. So, big thing is identifying your market. We've 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 realized that I've talked a lot about your mentality. I want to give you something practical here. Identifying your market is really key to knowing how you're going to craft your message and what you're going to say to people, and so that you have confidence. So just know who you're looking for when you're out talking to people. And I guess I'm referring specifically when you're talking to your people you're looking for the business. Now, most people couldn't use the products, and you always want to be ready to talk about the products. But I would venture to say the vast majority of people that I've ever talked to, the idea of talking to people about the business never enters their mind, or else it's like last thing that they would ever say. It's on the back burner. And I just want to say that the people who really build the business talk about the business. And you have to be unashamed of it. You have to be like really aggressive in your mind. Don't be aggressive at people, but you have to be sold out on the idea of talking about the business. Do not be ashamed of it. Don't ever show hesitation to talk about the business, because when you show hesitation, it's a trigger. It's a red flag. It tells them that you're not really into it. I want you to know when you go to talk to someone that you believe in what the business opportunity offers and that you're sold out on it. And so you want to identify the people that you want to bring into your business. Who are they? So you need to ask yourself some questions. Who do I feel like I can reach out to and talk to about the business? Is it a woman? Is it a man? How old are they? Do they have kids? Who do I feel like I can relate to and show them the business, right? Do they have kids? Are they retired? What kinds of extracurricular activities do they enjoy? Are they involved in any groups or clubs or churches? Who is it that you feel like you can reach? And find those people, identify those people. And then you start telling them, I'm looking for people like you. Now that you've identified your target, you can honestly tell them, I'm looking for people just like you. I'm literally looking for someone like you. And it feels more genuine then. It's like when I had guys, I've said, I'm looking for some guys who can run in this business with me. Because truthfully, there aren't a whole lot of guys in this business, and I feel like we can bring a lot to the table. So I'm looking for a few who want to do this with me. It makes you feel more genuine when you say that, and when you've identified your market. So identify your market, and then just have your message. It's got to be something simple, right? As I just said, I'm looking for guys like you, or I'm looking for ladies like you. I have amazing products that help with gut health, weight loss, and pain, and I have an opportunity with it to help people to make money while they help other people get healthy. So it's the best of both worlds, and it's a very simple statement. You don't have to make it flowery. You don't have to tell them exactly how their gut is going to get better. You just have to give them a little bit of information to get curiosity. And then from there, it's about showing third-party validation. Have you all started doing some of that stuff where you share videos and you don't
share invite?
Send, share, invite. Yes. Yes. Excellent. So those are the basics. And then Michelle and I are just about consistency. We are all about just literally creating an environment where there are certain things that we always do, and we just don't stop. We just keep doing them. At times at times we shorten that list because we've got other things that are weighing on us. Right now, literally, we are in the process of moving, which we've been in the process of like for 2 months. But we are going to be moving out of our house. We will be homeless for 3 weeks. So we're going on vacation. We've been trying to find another house. The first house that we were going to buy fell through. Been all kinds of issues with that. So we've been busy with that. Our son is graduating from high school. So we've been helping plan for that. My wife was actually the team mom for his basketball team, so she had to plan all that. My other son's in an AAU team. And then we started this whole new show called Totally Thomas that's just about being a network marketing family. And so now I'm like, it's literally a 40-hour week job for me.
I just saw that. Like, that's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
It's well done. I watched your video you posted on Facebook. Was that your first one?
Well, we've done 2 now, so I don't know which one you saw, but we've done 2 now. Our goal is to put one out every week. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's literally like become a 40-hour week job. So what I'm saying is, and then right now, Plexus has got a lot of stuff going on too. So sometimes you have your bare minimum is what I'm saying. You have your things that it's your must-do list. So you have to do your have-to-dos, right? You might have your list. You might be a list person. You've got this list, this, and you might go through it daily and create priorities and do all these other things. But on the top of your priority list has got to be your must-do list, right? You have to have those few things that every day you do and you don't miss it, because those are the things that are going to grow your business over the long term. And those are the things that are going to see, what I see too often happening is you have times like these where people get really excited and they get, all of a sudden, they start doing the business, right? They start working. And they're like, wow, things are working. My business is working. It's because you're excited and you're doing something. That's why your business is growing. But then when things aren't quite as exciting, I don't feel like messaging people today. I don't feel like calling anybody. I don't feel like following up with anybody. Oh, there's other things that are more important, actually. It's not that I don't feel like it. It's just there's other things that are more important, right? Well, unfortunately, that is what leads to people on your team thinking that you're checked out, thinking that you don't care. And then when you go back to reach out to them because you're excited again, they're like, where have you been? I thought you fell off the face of the earth. I haven't heard anything from you. And now you need, me to order because you need 5 points, right? So you can hit gold or whatever, right? So being consistent is really important if you want to grow over the long term. The beauty of this, y'all, is it only takes a very little amount of time to do this job, to do this stuff that we do. It takes very little amount of time. The problem is that you have to do it. You don't have a boss telling you to do it. And if we're real with ourselves about that, I think that a whole lot more of us can go to the top. If we're just real with ourselves that it's not hard work, we enjoy it. It's better than most of the stuff that we do 9 to 5 anyway. But if we're real with ourselves that we just have to just make ourselves do it and not make excuses, then it gets way easier when you accept that. If you don't accept that, then you're always going to be able to leave a little room for an excuse. And that excuse will derail your business, unfortunately. And I see that's probably the biggest thing that happens. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and see if y'all have, I've been all over the place. I've just been like throwing out things here left and right. I mean,
no, I love it.
We've talk about whatever.
Mindset, identifying your market a bit, just the rewards, quitting, all the good topics. Who has any questions, comments, anything? I love, we haven't had very many men of Plexus come on and share with us. So I've just loved this, just hearing from a man's perspective and how you view the business and how you think of things, because it's very different from, females. So.
I see a good question on here. What would you say is your market, your niche? So a few years ago, decided I've got to create a niche for myself. And I went into fitness and I got my personal trainer's certification through NASM. And then I started working out with a company called F45. And then I became a trainer at F45. And I used that as a platform. And from there, I was able to actually grab some pretty influential people. So I created a niche for myself. That was one. Another one has been really, I kind of with the guys, but it's more of a leadership thing than anything. It's more to keep us out front. Let me give you a little secret. I didn't make this one up. I'm just going to tell you, though, what a wise man said. The person with the marker makes the money. That was Eric Worre who said that. The person with the marker makes the money. And Michelle and I, basically, we just accepted that wholeheartedly right from the beginning, and we've tried to be out in front of everybody as often as possible. And what that does is that gives us opportunity. People respect what we have to say, and they tend to, when we go to share somewhere, what happens is you get better and better, and then you can go to your team's meetings and events and like have an incredible closing rate, right? So if your team starts having meeting stuff, because you're getting out there and you're practicing and you're up there a lot, you get better and better at it, and then you can go out and bring people in for your team, right? You get them to bring people to a meeting, and then you do the talking. And so we've just accepted the idea of the person with the marker makes the money. So whatever that means. So for me, a niche has been getting up in front of people and doing it, whether it's in person or on video, finding a way to get my face up there and get my voice out there. That's honestly been part of how we've built. I would say that's built a lot of our team is very loyal to us. So I think that's part of how we've built a lot of the loyalty, because we've done a lot to be out there in front, and we've done a lot to do that with our team.
I love that. Yeah, community is big, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
You don't have to meet in person. We have this type of thing, and giving of yourself and your heart and your wisdom as you learn to your team is invaluable.
Absolutely. Yep. Any other questions?
Who has a question? Come on, I know you guys have some good ones. I'm surprised we don't have any husband questions, like the typical, my husband isn't so supportive. Maybe we do. Did you ever, I know you said you weren't so sure about it. Did you ever think like, not at all, am I gonna?
In the beginning, yeah. Well, before we started Plexus, like right before that, I told my wife that we were never doing network marketing.
Didn't we all say that? Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to do network marketing. It's like, oh yeah, I was there too.
Yeah. But I literally said it like a month before that or something like that. And so I think, yeah, most people have said it at some point. I also said I was never moving back to Ohio, and I did that. But then I moved to Tennessee because I had to get back out of there again. Sorry if anybody's from Ohio. I lived in Ohio most of my life growing up, and I just, the clouds all winter long just don't go well with me. So, but no, just speaking to the guy thing, I can understand where y'all are coming from. You feel that way. And I wish that I could just wave a magic wand and make that easier for you, because unfortunately, guys don't look at this up front sometimes. Some of them do. Some guys do. But they just don't look at this as something legitimate or something that they're really into. I think that that's part of it. They might look at it as something they're not really into. And so they just, don't really show a lot of care or support. And the only thing I can do is tell you what, in that situation, Michelle was she was very patient with me, and she didn't make me feel like I could never tell her, I didn't want her to do this. She actually asked me to do it, which made me kind of open my heart up a little bit and made me feel like she cares what I think. And I think that made it easier. If she would have just come right out to me and said, well, I'm just doing this, I think that would have just put up a wall. And then I would have probably been opposed to it, not because I thought it was bad, but just because she was saying it like that. And so it was the fact that she came to me the way she did that made me like want to support it more. And I got behind her on it. And I at first I didn't want to do it myself, but I was behind her going for it and trying. Let me see. Let's see. It took my hubby to convention last year and to have his eyes really open. Okay, it took taking him there. My hubby is this supportive but disappointed I'm not a jewel yet. Yeah, that can happen. Support. It's great that he's supporting you. And I can't speak to every feeling that everybody has and the reasons why they have them. It's complicated, right? But what I can say is that showing consistency, right? Continuing to show consistency with doing the business will maybe for some people, I'm just throwing this out there, okay? Because some people it might be that you've been super consistent, but you're not there yet. And there's some things you have to learn, right? Okay. That might be one reason why you're not there. And somebody could be disappointed with that. But for someone else, it could be that you just haven't been consistent and you're not a jewel because you have the ability to do it, but you're not doing the things you should be doing. And so that's a different reason, right? You've got to be willing to take a look inwardly to see what those things are. If in the case of the person who's been really consistent, but you're not moving forward, I think that there are probably just some educational opportunities. It could come down to learning how to ask people what they, tell people about Plexus or ask them what they are looking for. It might come down to needing to get better at talking to people about Plexus. It might come down to needing to get better at networking. So you have to be open to the idea that there may be different reasons why those things are happening. As far as their disappointment goes, I honestly can't answer that one for you. I wish I could just give you a really simple, easy answer to make somebody not be disappointed. Bring them in on the process. This is the only thing I can say. Maybe I can say this, hopefully, as a man, just say, I'm going to speak for myself. I don't know. I think a lot of guys would feel this way. I don't know. But one of the things that works for me is when Michelle shows me that when she brings me into the process and she says, I'm struggling with this, I'm dealing with this, and it's really hard. I just don't know what to do. And she almost is like asking me for advice and help. I think people like to be asked for advice and help, but guys especially like to feel like they're important and special. You know what I mean? It kind of does something for our ego. And then we're like, oh, let me fix that for you. You know what I mean? Let me help you. And you may not want him to fix it, but what you do want is this support. So it may be good to swallow that pill a little bit, if that's something maybe that you struggle with, to get the support. Okay, again, I'm just throwing stuff out there because I don't know everybody, and all the issues, and I'm not a psychologist or anything. So I'm just telling you my experiences.
Sorry, I was muted. One more question, and then we'll wrap it up. So you see that here. how do you build yourself a big enough team to start having team meetings, etc. I am so motivated, but don't have any sellers on my team. They are just in it for the discount.
I love that question. I love that question because I love the fact that you want to get out there and have those meetings. I wish more people did meetings. I wish we did more meetings right now than what we do. We need to do more meetings. But what I'll say about meetings is this. We didn't build ourselves big enough to have meetings. We just did meetings. We would literally go find a place in around where we lived that would let us come in on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, and we would have 1 hour, and then we would invite people to come. And the people who came and showed up and tried the products became our team, and that's who we would then use to invite other people. They would invite people to the meeting. And sometimes it would be like 20 people, and sometimes it would be 1 or 2 people. But we just kept doing it. And in fact, in Florida, that's where we lived when we first started Plexus, we did those. That was the only way that we grew a team in Florida, was going out that and then going to vendor events. So we grew a team in Florida because we didn't know anyone. That's how we grew a team early, by going out and doing that. And just trying to meet people and inviting them to these meetings. And then the other thing that we did that is going to maybe blow some minds is Michelle was a silver ambassador, and her team was just barely, we had some folks up in Ohio that were just getting started that had found, she had connected on Facebook, some old friends. And we were like, Sonia was going to go up, and Sonia Dudley was going to go up and do a meeting up there. Sonia's Michelle's upline. She was going to go do meetings. And she said, Michelle, we're going to go to Ohio and we're going to do meetings. And Michelle was like, I'm not talking. And she was a silver ambassador, and she flew to Ohio as a silver ambassador to do a meeting for her team. You don't have to have anybody hardly to do a meeting. You just gotta create the meeting, and then you just gotta invite people to come to it. And sometimes people won't show up. But if you keep doing it, people will eventually show up. Consistency is a big key. I'm just telling you right now, like, it'll make up for a whole lot of being bad at stuff, because we were really bad at stuff in the beginning.
I can't even tell you, and you probably have the same thing because I've been here for 4 years now, like people that were naysayers, or they're like, oh, heck no. You give them enough time and you stay in Plexus long enough, you better believe they're going to become your ambassador. They come around. You can't leave. You have to keep going, like he's saying.
Yep, absolutely. It's a good point. Good point. Well, y'all, do you have any other questions or
I appreciate you so much for taking time out of your evening. You guys will have to head on over to Michelle Thomas's page on Facebook every Monday night. Let's see, what was it? 4 o'clock? Your time that you do it, or?
It's 8 o'clock our time. So and we're in Central. So if you're in California, that would be 6.
Perfect.
Yep.
And they've got a great library of all their Rock the Pink lives. So
yeah, and also go check out the Totally Thomas page, and all y'all subscribe, because we need to get over 8,000 subscribers.
Okay.
we're real close. We're real close.
That's awesome, and I was impressed. Like, you put a lot of time into those videos.
Thank you. We're using that for just inspiring people, just to reach people in a different kind of way. So,
well, I love it. And we have lots of thank yous so much, and appreciate your time and advice. What's the name of the Facebook page specifically, Tim?
Rock the Pink Live.
That's the page. Okay.
Yes. And then I see Kathy talking about Rock the Dream. Actually, we have another thing that we do. It's a 6-week course called Rock the Dream. If anybody's interested in it right now, we are open right now. We're bringing people in, and we're starting our next class on the 9th.
Oh, what is it? Explain it. Like, what do you mean course?
It's a 6-week training course. It's a mindset course on we call Rock the Dream. Basically, I'm just going to kind of give you a real quick nutshell of it. There's a difference between a dream and the dream. A dream is something you can taste, you can reach, right? It's something, it's a goal. It can be attained, right? It's something that you can say, this is what I want to accomplish. The dream is something different. The dream is something that you can't taste, touch, see, smell, hear, or feel, but nevertheless, it's something inside of you that drives you. It'll wake you up in the morning. It'll keep you up late at night. It'll take you to the ends of the earth. It'll make you spend your last dollar. And for some people, it'll even make them risk their life. So what we've done is we've taken and we've created a course to try to get people off of zero, where they might feel like, listen, I get it, this is a great business, but I don't feel like I have what it takes to do it. I don't feel like it's what's in me. I take the stuff that I talked about earlier where I said I was a quitter, and we spell it out, like what's happened in our life, and we take each lesson and we show people, like, this is what's inside of you and why you can do this. We help you go, not just find your why, but the why behind the why. The thing that's alive and that's driving you towards everything, your reason. And it turns into things that are practical. It turns into things that are practical, but it really starts at the heart. It starts at knowing who you really are. And we literally have a 6-week course to go over that. And then after you go through that and you graduate that class, then we have Rock the Dream Advanced, which is boom, hands-on. Like, okay, you're here now. You get it. Now we start creating some new things. We in Rock the Dream Advanced, we actually take people and we help them learn how to even create new circles of influence and identify bigger ways to get their message out and everything too. So it's a pretty robust course. So if you're just interested in Rock the Dream, it's 6 weeks. But you could, if you liked it and you enjoyed it, you can move on. Now, Rock the Dream is $124 right now for the 6-week course. And that is, it's normally $149, but that price ends on Saturday. And then it will be $149. So if you get into it now, you get it for $25 less.
And if any of you want that information, message me personally. And Tim, maybe you can send me that info.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. It's real easy.
I didn't even know you guys offered, or anybody offered such a thing. I mean, that's exactly what people need.
Yeah, it really, it's something that we had been kind of doing our whole life to a certain extent, learning lessons and improving. Like when I said I would never quit again, it was like a breakthrough moment, right? But what really turned us on to the reality that people need this in their everyday life for business was the fact that Sonia Dudley really breathed that into us. And so we've kind of teamed with her even, and we've done live in-person events, which we also do sometimes. We did a Rock Your Mindset event just a couple months ago, and that was a blast. And she was there for that. So yeah, it's a big deal. Your mindset is pretty much everything.
Well, that was a fabulous note to end on, Tim. I'd like to thank you so much for being on with us. This was awesome. So great to have one of our Men of Plexus. You speak, I think, at the Men of Plexus men's meeting at convention, right?
Yeah, they've done that the last few years. I'm not sure if they're doing it again this year, but yeah. I
told my husband that we're having Tim Thomas on. He's like, oh, I know who that is, because he's been to your guys' meeting at convention.
Yeah.
If you guys are coming to convention, bring your hubbies, and hopefully they'll have a Men of Plexus meeting, and you got to send them because it's like the best thing. So
thank you. Well, thank you for that plug. That's awesome.
Yes. All right.
Well, thank you, and have a great night, y'all.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thanks again, Tim.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless.